In the early morning hours of a day that would soon be remembered across southern Mexico, skies turned dark, the air grew heavy. Hurricane Eric, now upgraded to a fierce Category 4 monster, raced toward the coast with terrifying force. Overnight, it had exploded in strength, shifting from a tropical storm into one of the most powerful hurricanes the Pacific coast has seen in years. By dawn, first waves of wind and rain began lashing Puerto Escondido. Warnings had been issued. Red flags flew across Zipolite and Cicatela Beach. Despite the alerts, some tourists still walked the sand, unaware of how close danger really was. Meanwhile, local fishermen rushed to anchor their boats. Authorities gave louder warnings to evacuate. Schools, churches, and gyms were quickly turned into emergency shelters. People started packing up and fleeing. As the sun climbed higher, everything changed. Winds howled harder. Palm trees leaned under pressure, their fronds breaking off and flying through the air. Rain turned violent, coming down in sideways sheets. Blue ocean faded into a gray mess, as if nature was warning what was next. Then came storm surge. A rising wall of seawater began to push deep inland. Fueled by Eric's massive wind field and pressure, waves almost 20 feet high slammed into the coast, tore past seawalls, flooding homes and swallowing roads. Entire streets vanished beneath wild, muddy water. Wooden boats flew like toys, crashing into rooftops. What was once a peaceful beachfront town disappeared beneath feet of rising water. It looked like the sea had moved in. Emergency crews raced to act. Civil protection teams and soldiers were sent into the chaos. In Puerto Escondido, Marines used rafts to save a family trapped on their roof. Elsewhere, neighbors joined hands to rescue the elderly. Volunteers formed human chains through waist-deep water. Some carried children. Others brought food or medicine to those still stuck. Inside crowded shelters, supplies were handed out. Blankets, water, hot meals. Phone signals failed. Power lines snapped. Many neighborhoods went silent. While Puerto Escondido faced the worst flooding, other areas were hit just as hard. In Salina Cruz, a major port city in Oaxaca, a hurricane tore through with full strength. By midday, drains were overwhelmed. Roads became rivers. Cars floated away. Fallen trees and roof parts blocked the streets. Entire districts lost all communication. Storm had no mercy. In the mountains around Salina Cruz, things got worse. Torrents of rain triggered landslides, burying roads and crashing into homes. Emergency teams couldn't reach everyone. Major highways linking Oaxaca and Guerrero shut down. Trucks carrying aid were stuck for hours. Even inland, rivers like the Rio Tehuantepec overflowed. Farms drowned. Livestock vanished. Whole families had to run, leaving everything behind. Remote villages like Laguna de Chacagua and Mazunte were stranded. No signal, no roads, not enough food. The night before, Mexico's government had already issued a red alert for Oaxaca and parts of Guerrero. Now, it was real. Eric's eye stayed just 75 kilometers off Puerto Escondido. Its winds screamed across the coastline. Gusts reached over 155 miles. Some towns got more than 10 inches of rain. Flash floods and mudslides were still likely for days. In Salina Cruz, things only got worse. As rainwater poured from hills, entire neighborhoods were slammed by waves of mud. City's main hospital lost power and switched to backup generators. Officials scrambled, roads were blocked, boats were gone, and people still trapped. But somehow no large number of deaths were reported, thanks to early warnings and fast community action. Laguna de Chacagua alone, more than 100 people, mostly fishermen and hotel staff, had taken shelter in school buildings. Volunteers kept handing out food. Civil protection workers checked riverbanks and moved more people to safety zones. Still, fear remained. Everyone remembered Hurricane Otis from 2023, Category 5 that destroyed Acapulco, took many lives. People worried Eric would be just as deadly. Damage was everywhere. Coastal land had changed shape. Sand dunes, mangrove trees, and turtle nesting beaches were gone. Resorts and small businesses already hit by last year's storms now suffered again. Tourism hopes drowned with them. As Eric moved farther inland, storm left behind shattered towns. In Guerrero, Acapulco stayed on high alert for more flooding and landslides. In Chiapas, officials watched river levels closely. Rain was still falling. Over 2,000 emergency shelters were active across the 3 states, and more may be needed. The National Hurricane Center warned that moisture left behind by Eric would trigger more storms, more floods. Though the winds had passed, danger was not over. For many families in southern Mexico, this storm will take weeks, if not months, to recover from. Nature had shown its power once again.